Hey everyone, my name is Abigahile Bruny, and I'm super excited to be here with you today. We're going to talk about successful tips for beginning educators, especially if you're working with diverse learners in special education or in inclusive classrooms. To start off, these tips that I'm going to share with you um, in a minute. I've learned them from the two field experience I had through observation and interviewing a special education teacher, along with what I've learned from the educational psychology course that I am currently taking. I'm going to mix in some real classroom stories, some theories, and practical advice that I think will help you to become an even better teacher. So let's kick things off by talking about why this work is so important right now. Why this matters. In general, today's classrooms are more diverse than ever. Students come with all kinds of learning styles, strengths, and needs. Some students may have individualized education programs or IEPs, which are legal documents that really outlines their specific goals, accommodations, and services that they really need to succeed. And others might not have any formal plans or legal documents, but they still require different approaches to learn best. So, as teachers, we cannot just stand at the front of the classroom and hope students will keep up. Our goal and our job is to adapt and find ways to connect with them and support their growth. And the good news, we can make a huge difference just by using flexible and thoughtful teaching tips and strategies that will help our children or students to succeed and grow. So that's exactly what we're going to discuss today. The overview of my field experience. So here's a bit of what about where I got these insights. During my field experience, I had the chance to observe a third grade and fourth grade special education classroom at Villa Rica Elementary School in Georgia. I spent several days watching the teaching, interacting with students, and having really deep conversations with Miss Jean, this amazing special education teacher I was able to communicate with. Um, During my time there, I focus on two big areas: how students learn best based on different learning theories like behaviorism, constructivism, and information processing. And the second area was how assessments, both small checks and big tests, help guide teaching and motivate students. During my first field experience, I had the opportunity to sit down and formally interview Miss Jean. We talk a lot about how different students process information and how she adjusts her teaching to meet them where they are. In the second experience, I was able to spend more time um, again with her, and but mostly observing her classroom in action. I was able to see firsthand how she used assessments in real time to shape her lessons and support her students. Both experience really opened my eyes to how thoughtful planning and flexibility it takes to truly reach every single learner, no matter how different they are. So, tip one. Reward and rise, which basically means to use positive reinforcement to motivate your students. Mrs. Jean uses a simple but effective behavior called clip up and clip down, which basically is a system that she uses when students showed good behavior, like finishing assignments, um, participating and behaving nicely, kind to others, and that's how they earn points. And during that system, they can use or trade those points for rewards like extra recesses or homework passes. This connects to B.F. Skinner's behaviorism theory, which says that positive reinforcement helps encourage good behavior. The best part, students love the system, not because they were scared of punishment, but because they felt appreciated for their effort. Positive reinforcement creates a classroom culture where students are motivated by pride and encouragement, not fear. And I think it kind of builds trust between the teacher and students and shows them that their hard work and good choices are noticed. I also saw how small, consistent praise helps students who usually struggle to stay motivated and focused. So basically, the overall tips, um, create simple and visual reward systems, celebrate small victories often, but don't forget that even a simple great job can go a long way in motivating your students. Tip two, hands on and minds on equals minds on. Mrs. Jean didn't just talk to her students, she had them actively engaged. Basically, she just used concept maps to connect ideas and worked in groups to discuss and explore topics. This idea is grounded in constructivist theory by Paget and Vygotsky, who believe that students learn best when they're actively building their own understanding or discovering things on their own. When I watched the students explore ideas themselves, they weren't just like memorizing facts, they were making connections, asking questions, and truly understanding the material and the lesson they're being taught. Um, acting Active learning is like this also boosts critical thinking and problem solving skills, which are huge for long term success. It shows students that learning isn't just about getting the right answer, it's about the process of discovery. Plus, it builds confidence because students start to trust their own thinking. And as a new teacher, I guess, or not, I guess, I believe that we can get students talking and working together by group discussions or peer response. They can use tools like concept maps, group work, and problem solving tasks. And also, we can help our students to figure out things on their own instead of giving them the answers right away. Tip three, check, adjust, repeat. This really means repetition and small steps to strengthen student memory, which is very critical in the learning process and assessment practice in school. Um, During my field experience, Mrs. Jean often broke down big concepts into smaller, manageable pieces. She repeated important ideas in different ways, having students to say out loud, write it down, even act it out. This connects to the information processing theory, um, the processes theory, which compares learning to how a computer stores and processes information. So, as humans or as students, by repeating and chunking information, um, we can help students um, move things from a short-term memory into a long-term memory. What's key here is that repetition doesn't just help students memorize facts; it helps them understand and apply the material in a deeper way. And it's like building a neutral pathways, and it makes it easier for them to recall and use information later on. I personally remember that repeating lessons helped me understand and retain material better back when I was a youngster. So this approach, I believe, is a great way to not be afraid to reteach and repeat to students, especially if they have difficulty keeping up. And also another way to repeat that is like speaking again, writing it in the bulletin board, drawing it, or even acting it. And it's a great way to help them to get them actively engaged. The last tip is access early and often. So, using assessments regularly and often keep them supportive, but also less pressured. Um, Teachers like Miss Jean was amazing at using quick formative assessments throughout the day. At the beginning of class, she would use like interest tickets to review material from previous lessons. During the lessons, she had students use whiteboards for quick checks. They would write down their answers and hold them up for her to see. These small checks align with um, Vygotsky's social cultural theory, which talks about adjusting teaching support based on students are in their learning. What I really appreciate about Miss Jean approach is that These assessments weren't about grading them, they were about giving students a chance to show what they understood in a low stress way. By regularly or by constantly checking in with students, teachers like Miss Jean was able to look and observe their progress and able to modify their teaching methods that fix their path. For new educators, I believe that using quick or low stakes checks like exit tickets or whiteboard answers would be a great way for students to not get confused or not get lost during the assessment process. Honestly, do not wait for a big test because students will become very stressed. So I think that's a great way. The constant of use of formative assessments is a great way for help students to be in check with their progress learning. So let's wrap everything up by connecting these theories to some key educational theories. Skinner's behaviorism tells us about students are motivated by rewards and reinforcement, which encourage them to repeat desired behaviors. Piaget and Vygotsky's constructivism work together. They basically emphasize that learning is most effective when students are engaged with the material and the knowledge through physical activities, experience, and interactions. The information processing theory helps us understand that students retain information better when it's broken down into smaller chunks or pieces and is practiced repeatedly, making it easier for them to process and remember. And Vygotsky's social culture theory highlights the importance of scaffolding, which is supporting students just beyond their current level of studying, and peer learning, showing that collaboration aids in a different understanding. And Bandura's social cognitive theory teaches that developing students' self belief and confidence is very important for them to keep them motivated and help them persist through challenges. So, strategies in action, I believe that when teachers provide exit slips at the end of the lessons, the best way for students to quickly check their understanding. Tools like Kahoot, which is a great game to help them get engaged, which is very fun, and also students can learn the material in a fun way, and they can reinforce what they've learned throughout their lesson. Think, Pair, Share is also a great tool that students can work together, and it also encourages them to collaborate and allow them to learn from other ideas and perspectives. Whiteboards and small groups reteaching is a great way to help them to fill in the gaps so they can target what they need extra help on. So the biggest lesson I learned or from this experience is that assessments shouldn't just be a way to judge your students. They should actually guide and shape your teaching. By using assessments to understand where teachers are or excuse me, where students are struggling, we can as teachers we can adjust our approach and support them more effectively. I believe that flexible teaching able to adapt based on the student needs it can help them create a classroom where students feel more supportive, trusted, and motivated. While big tests are important to measure their progress, I believe it's the smaller and daily assessments and ongoing feedback that really drive students' growth and help them to improve over time. As a future teacher, I plan to use a balance between formative and summative um, assessments. I would like to include a supportive classroom where everyone feels respected and safe. And then lastly, I will carefully scaffold students by supporting them with what they actually need, no matter where they are in their learning journey. So, as a word of encouragement, I believe that teaching is not about being perfect. It's about showing up every day with patience, flexibility, and a big heart. That we have to believe in our students. We have to be patient and very persistent of their needs, and always tackle and help them no matter what they need to show a great day for them. And everything matters to them, even a small win. Congratulations or a little praise will make a big difference for them and for us as well. Thank you so much for joining me today. Um, I This is the first time I'm doing this, so I can't wait to see the amazing educators you all becoming. Um, I just suggest that everyone keeps learning, growing, and keep making a difference one student at a time. Thank you so much, and have a great day.